Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the T-2 Early, a currently Tier 6 9.7 BR jet fighter that exists as a premium pack vehicle for the Japanese Air Force's tech tree. In this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about it, including its stats, how it plays, its strengths and weaknesses. I'll give some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation on if I feel that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. As always, please subscribe if you'd like more content like this, as that would make you cooler than a dev for War Thunder that just copies and pastes a regular tech tree vehicle and then sells it as a $60 USD premium pack. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Now to start, I'll place its stats here on the side of the screen. Important stats to note are its rate of climb, top speed, and SL reward modifier. Additionally, the skin that I use in this video is a user skin that I'll try to link down below. It is, at least as of yet, not a skin that you can purchase in War Thunder for Golden Eagles or via the marketplace. Now with that said, let's get into how the T-2 Early plays. In short, the designers of this aircraft obviously put all of their eggs into the performance basket, as that is clearly what the T-2 Early thrives on. At 9.7 BR, its performance is nearly unmatched, and even though it will spend most of its time being up-tiered into 10.0 or even 10.3 BR air battles, it can still outpace most planes to a significant degree. Because of this, it is excellent in the boom and zoom roll, easily climbing to around 7,000 meters while at around Mach 1 before seeing the first enemy. From here, you dive, you shoot your excellent 20mm rotary cannon, or if you're feeling lucky, try to land a hit with one of your two AIM-9E missiles, and you should come out with a quick kill. Once in a fight, however, you need to play defensively, as the T-2 Early lacks countermeasures, and will be easy pickings for more advanced missiles, such as the AIM-9L or R-60. Regardless, the maneuverability on the T-2 is surprisingly good, and while it bleeds speed incredibly quickly, it can gain it back with relative ease due to its excellent thrust-to-weight ratio. In all though, the T-2 Early should be played like an old-school gunfighter, with missiles being a secondary option, as its missiles, the AIM-9E, have little to no ability to turn with the plane that they are tracking. Alternatively, you can use the T-2 Early as a base attacker in Air RB, as it can carry up to 5 750-pound bombs, along with its wingtip AIM-9s, which is enough to drop a base by about 2/3 of its health. While this is typically not an ideal way to play, it can earn you extra points, especially if you switch to a bomb-carrying loadout later in a match after most enemies have been killed, at which point you should be able to hit an enemy base without fear of being intercepted. Now for close air support, the T-2 Early is fairly similar in that it feels like a fast old-school plane. It carries a good loadout of up to 5 dumb bombs of either 500 or 750 pounds each, and up to 16 Zunis or 76 Mighty Mouse rockets, along with wingtip AIM-9Es. And of course, you can create custom loadouts to really just mix and match whatever you'd like. This plane can quickly get into a battle, unleash its ordnance, and zoom away. Because it is old school, the T-2 Early does not have ballistic computers for its bombs or rockets, meaning that you'll typically need to get fairly close to the enemy to ensure a kill, though the T-2 carries sufficient ordnance to be able to do this with relative ease. Further, the 20mm rotary cannon is powerful enough to be able to shred lightly armored enemy vehicles with ease, regardless of the type of belt that you choose. For close air support, this plane checks off all of the boxes for necessities and nothing else. Now with all that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses. And first, for its strengths, it is very fast with great acceleration and an amazing rate of climb relative to its BR. Second, it features the great JM61A 120mm rotary cannon that can devastate both air and ground vehicles. Third, it has secondary ordnance that's comprised of all of the necessities, including Mighty Mouse rockets, Zunis, 500-pound bombs, and 750-pound bombs. In short, it's plenty to get the job done for close air support in ground RB and also base attack in air RB, but with no frills or guided ordnance. Third, this has an excellent roll rate, one of the best at its BR. For its fifth strength, it is a small and thin plane that should make it difficult to be hit by enemy guns. For its sixth strength, it has one of the best radars for its BR. Seventh, it has surprisingly good maneuverability in spite of what the stat card says. For its 8th strength, it has 2 pilots, which makes it substantially more difficult to pilot snipe. And finally, it has premium RP and SL bonuses, with the SL booster on the T-2 Early being one of the best for any plane currently in War Thunder. Now with all that said, let's get into its weaknesses, and first and foremost, it has no countermeasures. This is a big deal when in an up tier, and you you will almost always be in an up tier. Secondly, it lacks a ballistics computer for both bombs and rockets, both of which are becoming common around this BR for other planes. Third, the T-2 early only has provisions for 2 AIM-9E missiles, of which are entirely mediocre at the BR in which it plays, especially with most planes having countermeasures and with the T-2 early constantly being stuck in up tiers with more maneuverable planes. Fourth, it bleeds energy very quickly in high-speed turns. And finally, the T-2 early does not have a radar warning receiver, though this is really only an issue in ground RB. Now with all that out of the way, let's get into how I scored this vehicle. First, for dogfighting. I give the T-2 early a 6.5 out of 10. I really want to give the T-2 early a 7 out of 10 in this category, but it simply has too many deficiencies that bring it down from being a great plane to pretty good in this category. To start, the speed, acceleration, rate of climb, and handling of this vehicle are all excellent, as well as having its 20mm rotary cannon. These traits all help you to be massively devastating to the enemy, and will oftentimes be the reason why you win in a dogfight. On the other hand, the T-2 early lacks countermeasures, of which again are becoming rapidly important around this BR. And you also only have 2 mediocre AIM-9E missiles, which hardly pull any Gs and are essentially AIM-9B pluses. As a gunfighter, however, the T-2 early is still excellent, and if just going by performance and cannon alone, it is likely a 7.5 out of 10. But when looking at the big picture and considering everything else, it slips down a bit. It's still good, but the T-2 early is just shy of being great as a dogfighter. Now for close air support, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. The T-2 early has all the essentials and nothing more. It can carry 2 different weights of bombs and 2 different sizes of rockets, all of which will cost different amounts of spawn points in ground RB, and thus will allow you to take certain loadouts if you don't have a ton of spawn points. Between its Zunis and 750-pound bombs, as well as its surprisingly effective cannon, you can still get numerous kills against ground targets. While the T-2 early has everything that is required to be a good basic close air support plane, it still lacks ballistics computers for both bombs and rockets, as well as guided munitions, meaning that you have to get close and dirty to guarantee a hit. Still, the T-2 early is perfectly sufficient as a high-tier close air support plane, especially for ground RB players that have not substantially invested into the air tech tree. Now overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. As mentioned before, I really want to rate this vehicle higher insofar as dogfighting is concerned, which would then give it an overall score boost, but the T-2 early simply lacks too many of the technological necessities that benefit high-tier gameplay, such as, again, and I've mentioned this many times, countermeasures, better missiles, and ballistics computers. If you can go without these things, or if you're an old school player, then it's fine. But I can see this plane being a slight shock to the system for newer players, or those that are used to enhanced avionics. Now with all that said, do I recommend this plane? Yes, I do, but not with incredible zeal. While I love this plane because it suits my flying style, as I value speed, maneuverability, and a good cannon, it simply lacks the creature comforts that many people might deem to be important, like countermeasures, better avionics, and so forth. This plane is superior to the Milan, which sits at the same BR, although the Milan is a touch better at close air support, while the T-2 blows the Milan away in dogfighting. With this said, the T-2 early is not what I would consider to be an elite premium aircraft, but it is certainly very good and will do a great job of grinding the Japanese air tech tree, as well as providing a viable close air support plane. While other aircraft, namely the F-5C, Su-25K, and A-5C are all better than the T-2 early, the T-2 early is just about as fun and will still be a great plane that can more or less do anything that you ask of it, barring bringing countermeasures to battle. Now with that said, thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below of this review and of the T-2 early. Also, if you would like, please consider subscribing, as that would help to take my channel to new heights, which is always awesome. But that said, thanks again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone.